Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Pankajalabhaya Nama Pankajamaline Nama Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangraye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from Srimad Bhagavat Gita as it is, chapter 2, entitled Contents of the Gita Summarized. Reading from text 12. Natvayavaham jatunasam natvam ne me janadhipa nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamata param. Translation. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Om Jnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmanitam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanatsvaminiti Namane. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namane. Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Padaya Gurukata Dhammadaya Nagara Gramatarine. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Guruvani Pracharine Nirvishisha Shranodi Pasthita Shatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayadari Gadar Saraswati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This is a very wonderful verse, one of the first teachings of Krishna. Here in this particular chapter is one of the longest chapters in the Bhagavad Gita. And we saw last time how Krishna started his teachings to Arjuna with the letter A, Ashocyanan Vashocastvam. And today he is talking about Natva evaham jatunasam. In the past, I have existed. In the present, I am existing. And in the future, I shall also continue to exist. That Krishna is saying, he's talking about eternity, that Krishna is trying to establish in the mind of Arjuna that, how Arjuna is trying to say that this life, if he ends it, that he is going to, end the life of his teacher, the life of his grandfather. If he does not, if he kills them in the battlefield, then that is it. That's it. But then, so Krishna is trying to defeat that particular point of Arjuna, that don't think, Arjuna, that if you kill the body, that they will be killed. So Krishna is trying to establish the fact that they are not this body, but the eternal spirit soul. So that is the purpose of this particular verse. And in that regard, Srila Prabhupada has a very beautiful purport that he has given to this verse, because what happens is that this particular verse is also very much loved by the Mayavadis. Srila Prabhupada mentions that in the purport. And the Mayavadis, they use it in a completely twisted kind of a way. The way they use it, Krishna actually, in its actual sense, in this particular verse, Krishna is actually defeating the Mayavadi concept of the oneness of the Supreme and the living entity. You know how Mayavadi philosophy means that there is a green tree and a green parrot enters into that tree and it becomes one with that tree. When a green parrot flies into a green tree, it becomes one with the tree. That is Mayavad philosophy, basically. But Krishna is actually defeating that Mayavad philosophy by, establishing the concept of the Supreme, the oneness of the Supreme and the living entities by identifying himself as an individual. He's saying that there was never a time when never a time that I did not exist, nor you, the living entities. So he's identifying Arjuna and all the assembled kings as eternal individuals. Krishna is doing that in this verse. He does not say that in the future Arjuna and the kings will become one with him. He actually says that they will continue to be individuals even in the future. So nor does he say that he was formless in the past, nor does he, say that he has assumed on this human form of life now and that in the future again he will become formless. He never says that. Rather, he clearly points out that I am Krishna, I was Krishna, and I will always continue to be Krishna. Similarly, Krishna also asserts Arjuna's eternal individuality, that it is not that Arjuna or any of the assembled kings, that they were merged into Krishna in the past. He does not say that. Krishna says that even they have been individuals in the past, that they are individuals now, and that they will continue to be individuals in the future. So as Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that Mayavad may argue, the Mayavadis, they always argue that the plurality that is mentioned in this verse is conventional and that it refers to the body. That's their line of twisting this particular verse. So, but actually the previous verse, is already, condemning the bodily concept of life, ashochan anvashocastvam. Krishna is already condemning the bodily concept of life. Then how is it possible for Krishna to place a conventional proposition, on the body? It is impractical, it is not possible. So therefore, Krishna actually is clearly stressing the spiritual individuality of each and every living entity in this particular verse. So this basic understanding of the difference between the individual soul and his temporary body is definitely, talked about in the subsequent verses. But, here in this particular verse, Krishna is very clearly saying and stating the individuality. And Srila Prabhupada very clearly explains that, in this verse, Mayavadi people, they are, very nicely able to twist it around and just go on the bodily concept of life. Just based on the body, they tend to twist this around and use it for their own, selfish philosophy. Mayavad Prabhupada even said that Mayavadis don't even have a proper philosophy. In this regard, I was reminded of a very beautiful pastime that my Prabhu shared with me this morning. And to share it with all of you. You know, when Srila Prabhupada first came to, we all know he landed in Boston, and then Srila Prabhupada went to New York from Boston. And then Srila Prabhupada tried to preach for a little while in the Bowery, and then he got this little storefront on 22nd Avenue. And Srila Prabhupada would go to this Tompkins Square Park to chant. And then he would collect contacts and he would invite them to his programs in 26th Avenue. And in the same time, around the same time, Srila Prabhupada was also, having some programs sometimes at a yoga studio. And this particular yoga studio was actually owned by one Indian person. And Srila Prabhupada had just met him. And this person's name was Dr. Mishra. And this Dr. Mishra was a hardcore, he was a hardcore Mayavadi. So, this Dr. Mishra was, but he actually sympathized with Srila Prabhupada because Prabhupada was so old. So then this Dr. Mishra said, okay, your mission is to preach, so I can help you, give you some kind of a platform where you can talk your teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. And then before and after, they would always have very strong arguments. Even this Dr. Mishra was a very old man. But, he would teach his students some yoga, and then he would explain some verses from the Gita to his students also, and he would completely give a Mayavad kind of explanation. And Prabhupada would sit at the back because the next session would be Srila Prabhupada's talk. So sometimes Srila Prabhupada would be sitting at the back and, having to listen to Dr. Mishra's Mayavadi talks. And Prabhupada would tell the students at the back, some of them were very fond of this Swamiji, So Prabhupada would smilingly tell these boys and girls that don't listen to him, he's talking nonsense like that. But then, Srila Prabhupada would have a very heated discussion all the time. They would really fight. Dr. Mishra and Srila Prabhupada would always fight very strong on the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita, because Dr. Mishra had his Mayavadi concept and Srila Prabhupada, had the Vaishnava doctrine. So they would always have fights. Then one day, this Dr. Mishra, he fell very sick, very, very sick. So Srila Prabhupada, because he had, his background with pharmacy and also some very practical knowledge of Ayurveda, Srila Prabhupada had. So Srila Prabhupada actually took some medicines for him, cooked for him, and really nursed him back to health, took care of this Dr. Mishra. And then when Dr. Mishra, one day he was, really feeling much better, they were both eating. Prabhupada had cooked for Dr. Mishra and they were both taking some prasad. And at that time, Dr. Mishra just casually asked Prabhupada, he said, that I have, such crazy, you call me crazy, that because I have these Mayavadi, ideas, you call me crazy and you always fight with me and you're always so angry at me. Then why did you help me? You could have left me to suffer. Then why did you help me? And Srila Prabhupada smiled and he said, that's because I love you. I am concerned for you. You are my friend. You have helped me so much. That is why I am taking care of you. So Dr. Mishra was so touched and he said, that means now you accept my philosophy also. So then Prabhupada smiled and said, no, that I won't accept. Your philosophy is both. That you have to know. But, what you are saying is completely bogus. What you are doing is completely bogus. But apart from that, you are still my dear friend. So like this, Prabhupada was always against Mayavad philosophy, and he always would make sure that as his disciples, we don't get watered down or we don't get carried away by Mayavad philosophy. He was very, very concerned about that. In fact, all our acharyas are concerned about that, including Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is something that we need to understand, that how Krishna also in this particular verse, that what is the meaning as it is. That's why Srila Prabhupada named our Bhagavad Gita as it is. Means as Krishna spoke it and Arjuna how he understood it. So that is why this Bhagavad Gita is called Bhagavad Gita as it is. Srila Prabhupada named it. That it is based on how Krishna spoke it and how Arjuna understood it. And by Prabhupada's mercy, we have that facility that we can understand the Bhagavad Gita in the proper way, in the proper mood, in the proper spirit, so that we don't get deviated by any other philosophy. So today I will end here. If there's any questions, comments, reflections, we can take that now. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, very nice explanation. Thank you so much.
Thank
so,
you.
Mataji, when we say that we are the part and parcel of Supreme Lord, so, and on the other side we are saying that eternally we are individual, and separate. So, parcel means separate, but part means bonds, or means how can we say that we are part of, because sometimes or somewhere we are united and then become part, right? Or part in the sense of qualitative, not quantitative.
Exactly. That is how Krishna explained as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that our philosophy is Achintya Bhed Abhed Tattva, which means that it is not that, Mayavadi concept that is there. That is just a very incomplete way of understanding the absolute truth. But the absolute way of understanding the supreme truth is that we are simultaneously one and different, which is called as Achintya Bheda Bhed. So yes, you are right. We are one qualitatively, but we are different quantitatively. So just like how the ocean and the drop of an ocean, if you take a drop of the ocean, it is still having the same quality as the ocean, but there is difference in quantity. It is salty and it is H2O. But a drop cannot be compared that yes, this is the ocean. Ocean is ocean, drop is drop. But it is not that when the drop goes inside the ocean that it becomes and it loses its identity. It does not lose its identity. Just like when a green parrot enters a green tree, it has a green house, it has green babies, it has a green wife also. But it's not that all of them have become the green tree. No, they have a life of their own. The tree has its life of its own. So they have a whole life which is going on inside that green tree. But they are part of that tree. This is the example Prabhupada gave. That Mayavadis say that, oh, green parrot entering the green tree means they become one with the tree. No. It is actually that the green parrot has entered the green tree, yes, but it has not lost its individuality. It still maintains its individuality. That is what Krishna is stressing in this particular verse. That although we are one with Krishna, we are one in quality with Krishna. That's how Srila Prabhupada is saying he's quoting from Katha Upanishad in the purport, Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam. That we are individual, Krishna is plural. Like that. So that is the difference between us and Krishna. We are Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva. I hope that answers your question, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, but when we give the example of ocean, then people says, you are taking drops from the ocean. And then it goes back into the ocean, so it loses its individuality. It merges into the ocean. You cannot say this is a one drop one. Because one time I said the same thing, but they counteracted with this sentence.
So then you give this you give them this argument of the parrot and the green tree.
Yeah. That is perfect. But the example of this ocean drop and kind of, that didn't appeal them to them.
Right. Well, see, the thing is that there are some examples that Srila Prabhupada has used to give the quantity versus quality. So, but that same example cannot be used when you're saying that when they go back, when the ocean goes back, the drop goes back into the ocean. You cannot extrapolate on an example.
Yes,
extrapolate matlab that you're using the same example to prove another point. That is not the purpose of an example. The purpose of an example is given to prove one particular point. That way I can say many things. That why this example is given, but then it's not proving that particular point. Well, one example you cannot take to prove two different points. You're talking about two different points. So,
yeah, that makes sense. And what is the meaning of Mukunda?
Mukunda means the bestower of liberation, the giver of liberation. Mukti pradan karne wale ko Mukund कहते हैं. Mukund means mukti daan dene wale, Mukunda.
Okay, Mata. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.